get it from almost everybody but the farmers. The farmers have a reputation of being the hard-working people in the world, and yet they cut the corners. I had that conversation with one of the other farmers in another class. I'm like, giving farmers a bad name by not doing all the work. Under direct variation, children. The word variation kind of means changes, and direct kind of means with respect to. The one thing to think about with direct variation, well, there's a couple things. First of all, think about this. As one goes up, so does the other. And the other thing to think about, direct variation is really synonymous with or the same as something being proportional. Okay? Proportional, which means, you know, if two things are proportional as one side gets bigger, you know, two shapes are proportional, one side gets bigger, all the sides get bigger at that same rate. This, though, is what you need to write down. There is what's called the equation, or what's it called here? The direct variation equation. Write this in big letters because this will come up multiple times in your life. Y equals K X. Emphasize this because this is kind of the direct variation equation. Which looks a lot like what other thing? If it had a plus 5 or 6 after, a plus number after it, it's the same as a linear equation, right? Y equals mx plus b, it's kind of the same thing. You've got the y and you've got the x. Can anybody tell me why there is no letter b over there? We actually had this, we had the problem like this not very long ago. Do you remember what two things had to be true for something to be proportional when it was a graph? Oh, when you graph something, two things had to be true. Whoa, nobody? Come on, people. I give the best I got for you people. Nobody can tell me what makes something proportional when you see a line. Two things have to happen. Kevin, shoot me one. One of them. Brady, nothing. Speculation. I'll even take a guess. I'm sure it was this class. I'm sure we covered this. Kevin? Well, that's it. That is actually the that is true. That is true. But when you see a line, for example, is that line there proportional? I'm sure we've talked about this. Kendall? One thing, in order for something to be proportional, it does need to be a straight line. That was one thing. But the other thing had to be, Danny?
Do we have to cross over the origin?
Yes, thank you very much. Point number 1, point number 2. It has to go over the origin. It has to go, and this one doesn't, so this is not proportional, nor is that direct variation. Nor is that direct variation. And here is an example of this, and I thought we did this here. Let's say again you got a job. You had a job, and X is the number of hours you work, and Y is how much you get paid. Let's say your job pays you $8 per hour. To figure out how much you make in money, you take 8, God bless you, and multiply it by the number of hours you work. Okay, the number 8 is what we call, this letter K is called the constant. I hope it says constant of variation. Oh, constant of proportionality, I guess they call it. That's a long word. The constant of proportionality. Okay. When you do your little table of these values, first of all, if you work 0 hours, how much money are you going to make? $0. It goes through the origin if you're graphing it. 0 hours, X is the hours, Y is the amount of cash you make. You know, if you work 1 hour, you make $8. So 1 hour here means you make $8. 2 hours would be $16. 3 hours would be 24, and it'd be way up there, whatever it is. Notice that the constant of proportionality is what you multiply this by to get that. That is direct variation. At some point, we will get to something that's not direct variation, it's indirect variation. And that will just confuse and amaze your friends. Let's look and see what we got here. I suppose we should label these two. And when you do this, ladies and gentlemen, the letter Y is called the dependent variable, and the letter X is the independent one. Why do you suppose X is and Y is dependent? Because Y always depends on what you put in for X. Whatever I put in for X, that changes my Y. And you're working the amount of hours, you get to put in your hours, you get to change that. Oh boy, this is going to get exciting. Look at page 467 in your book. Let us talk about a couple of these problems, and maybe this will help you. Are you there, page 467? Look at the table they give you. It says Trini, that letter, practice letter A. Trini drew some equilateral triangles, measured their side lengths and their perimeters. She decided the perimeter of an equilateral triangle varies directly with its size. Write an equation of the relationship there. So this gal, I'm sure, as most of you do, draw triangles in her off time and want to see how they're related. Alright. Thank you for that. S would stand for the side, and P would stand for the perimeter. You know, it's an equilateral triangle, so all the sides are alike. So, you know, if the side was 0, what would its perimeter be? 0. If the side was 2, what would its perimeter be? If side was 4, its perimeter would be, somebody said it, if side was 10, its perimeter would be 30. What is the constant of proportionality? What do you do to go from here to here every time? Besides Amazon Smile, what? Yeah, multiply by 3. So what it asks you for the equation, which one of these is the dependent variable, which one is the independent variable? Again, thinking about when we, instead of S's and P's, we usually use X and Y. Y depends on what X is. What would the equation be for this? Instead of Y equals, it would be perimeter equals what? What's my constant of proportionality? 3. And what am I multiplying that by? The side. Perimeter equals 3 times the side. Is that proportional? Yes. Now, just for fun, River, look at problem number 4. See that table. Is that proportional, yes or no, why or why not? I mean, is it direct variation, which would be the same thing? What do we have here? X and Y, 2, 18, and 30. What is my Y numbers? 5, 45, and 80. 5, 45, and 80. Is that direct variation, yes or no? How do I know? How can I figure it out? Who has the button? somebody to answer again. Is that direct variation or not? How do you know? Leah, yes or no? No, for crying out loud. Somebody help me out here. Liv,
No,
why?
because it doesn't multiply by the same thing.
All right, Liv's getting at this thing. And how do you know, Liv? Did you try one? Let me ask you, what would you multiply 2 by to get 5? Does anybody know? 2.5, right? So if that was the case, you'd have to multiply all these by 2.5. And if you can find one that doesn't multiply by 2.5, what's 2.5 of 30? 2 times 30 is 60, right? What's half of 30?
15.
So 60 plus 15 is, this would have had to been 75 if in fact it was direct variation or proportional. Same thing with this. 18 times 2 is 36. Half of 18 is 9. 36 plus 5 you get. Oh, this one does work, doesn't it? 36, yeah. But this one does not work. So if one of them doesn't work, they don't all work there.